Welcome to Botanical Bliss. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of medieval vegetable cultivation to uncover forgotten treasures that deserve a place in today's gardens. During the Middle Ages, roughly 500 to 1500 CE, gardeners across Europe and beyond cultivated an impressive diversity of vegetables, many of which have been pushed aside by modern commercial varieties. These heritage crops offer unique flavors, exceptional hardiness, and often superior nutritional profiles compared to their contemporary counterparts. Join us as we explore these remarkable plants and discover how to successfully incorporate them into your garden landscape. Blight, Amaranthus blightum. Known as wild spinach or all good in medieval kitchens, this leafy amaranth was prized for its prolific growth and mild flavor. Unlike modern spinach, blight thrives in summer heat without bolting and produces continuously until frost. Rich in iron, calcium, and vitamins A and C, its tender leaves can be harvested young for salads or mature for cooking. Sow seeds directly after the danger of frost has passed in full sun, thin seedlings to 6 inches apart, and begin harvesting outer leaves when plants reach 6 to 8 inches tall. Rocket Eruca vesicaria. Though arugula has made a comeback, medieval gardeners cultivated several distinctive varieties now nearly extinct. Dragon's tongue rocket features deeply lobed, red-veined leaves with complex peppery flavor and remarkable cold tolerance. Traditionally planted in early spring and again in late summer, it provided fresh greens well into the winter months. Sow seeds thinly in nitrogen-rich soil, harvest leaves young, and allow some plants to flower for beneficial insects and seed saving. Colewort, Brassica oleracea. Predating modern kale and collards, colewort represents the original cabbage family plant before selective breeding created the diverse brassicas we know today. Valued for its loose open growth habit and sweet tender leaves even in maturity, colewort was the reliable green vegetable in medieval cottage gardens. Start seeds indoors 6 weeks before the last frost, transplant 12 inches apart in rich soil, and harvest outer leaves continuously throughout the growing season. Patience dock, also known as Rumex patientia, was commonly referred to as herb patience or monk's rhubarb. This perennial green was a staple in almost every monastery garden across medieval Europe. Less acidic than common sorrel, its early spring leaves emerge weeks before other greens and can be harvested throughout the season. The young leaves taste similar to spinach, while the mature leaves add a delightful tartness to soups and stews. Plant this in partial shade in rich, moist soil, and you'll find that this long-lived perennial can produce for up to 10 years. Bistort, scientifically known as Persicaria bistorta, was a versatile perennial known as Easter ledges or passion dock in medieval times. It produces mineral-rich leaves used in spring herb puddings during Lent and Easter. The young shoots and leaves have a mild flavor that is somewhat reminiscent of spinach, with just a hint of subtle floral notes. Once established in moist, rich soil in partial shade, Bistort forms attractive clumps with pink flower spikes that support pollinators while providing edible leaves for 6 to 8 years. Tuberous-rooted chervil, or Carophyllum bulbosum, is an ancient root vegetable that produces aromatic tubers with complex flavors combining parsley, chestnut, and potato. Medieval gardeners valued it for its winter harvest, as the roots reach their peak flavor after exposure to frost. Sow fresh seeds in fall, as they require winter stratification, then harvest the gray-brown tubers the following winter. Grow this in deeply worked, stone-free soil with consistent moisture during the growing season. Earth chestnut, also known as Bunium bulbocastanum. Sometimes called kippernut or earthnut, this relative of caraway produces small chestnut-flavored tubers that were foraged and cultivated during medieval times. Rich in starch and with a sweet nutty taste, they were eaten raw, roasted, or boiled. Sow seeds in fall in well-drained soil where plants can remain undisturbed as they require 2 years to produce harvestable tubers. Their delicate white flower umbels also attract beneficial insects. Edible burdock, known scientifically as Arctium lapa. Known as gobo in modern Japanese cuisine, burdock root was widely cultivated throughout medieval Europe before falling from favor. The long, slender roots have a sweet, earthy flavor reminiscent of artichoke hearts and oyster mushrooms. Sow seeds directly in deeply worked soil in early spring, thin seedlings to 6 inches apart, and harvest in late fall of the first year before the roots become woody. Silverweed, or Potentilla anserina. The starchy roots of this common medieval food plant were often ground into flour during lean times, but were also cultivated for their sweet, parsnip-like flavor when roasted. The plant's silver-backed leaves made it easy to identify, and its spreading habit meant a small patch could produce substantial root harvests. Grow in moist, sandy soil in full sun or partial shade, harvesting roots in fall after the first year of growth. Pignut, also known as Conopodium majus. These small, chestnut-flavored tubers were both foraged and cultivated in medieval Europe. Valued for their sweet, aromatic quality, they were eaten raw as snacks or cooked in stews. Sow seeds in fall in well-drained soil in a permanent location, as they resent transplanting. The ferny foliage and white flower umbels add ornamental value, while the pea-sized tubers can be harvested after 2 to 3 years of growth. Medieval legumes and pulses, chickling vetch, or Lathyrus sativus. This hardy legume was a staple crop in medieval Spain and Italy, valued for its drought tolerance and ability to grow in poor soils. The immature pods are cooked like snow peas, while the dried seeds have a nutty flavor for soups and stews. While excessive consumption of the dried seeds is not recommended, as they contain a neurotoxin when consumed as a primary food source, moderate use is safe and provides valuable protein. Sow seeds in spring in well-drained soil in full sun. Wild pea, or Pisum sativum var arvense. Unlike modern garden peas bred for sweetness, medieval field peas were multicolored, often purple or mottled, and primarily grown for drying. Their higher protein content and exceptional flavor in soups made them valuable winter staples. Plant in early spring as soon as soil can be worked, provide support for climbing, and harvest when pods are completely dry but before they shatter. Rovea, Pisum sativum var, arvense. This ancient Italian field pea produces small brown-purple seeds with a rich, earthy flavor that was prized in medieval cuisine. Nearly extinct but recently rediscovered, Rovea thrives in poor mountain soils and drought conditions while fixing nitrogen. Plant in early spring in well-drained soil, harvest when pods are completely dry, and use the dried peas in soups and stews where they maintain their firm texture even with extended cooking. Broad Windsor fava, Vicia fava. While modern favas are still available, this medieval variety produces exceptionally large beans with lower concentrations of the compounds that cause favism. Medieval cooks valued them both fresh and dried, often serving them with savory herbs as a meat substitute during Lenten fasting periods. Plant seeds directly in garden beds in early spring when soil temperature reaches 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and harvest when beans reach desired size. Monastic lentil, Lens culinaris pui. Small, dark, and speckled, this medieval lentil variety was widely grown in monastery gardens for its quick cooking time and earthy flavor. Unlike modern varieties, these lentils hold their shape when cooked while developing a creamy interior. Sow seeds in early spring in full sun, space plants 4 inches apart, and harvest entire plants when lower pods turn brown and rattle when shaken. If you've enjoyed exploring these medieval garden treasures, please subscribe to the Botanical Bliss channel for more content on heritage varieties and traditional growing techniques. Share this guide with fellow gardeners interested in historical varieties, and comment below letting us know which of these medieval vegetables you're most excited to try growing. Remember, each heritage seed you plant helps preserve agricultural biodiversity for future generations, making your garden not just a source of food but a valuable conservation project as well.